when you're working with service-based businesses, like either financial or like Juan Pablo said, he manages the list for a lot of different coaches as well. And Chris as a copywriter, these are things that we really need to know so that we can really serve our clients and serve our audience best. So this is what we're going to talk about. Essential email sequences that you need to have in place. And email sequences, they call them so many things. They call them flows on Klaviyo. They call them automations on ActiveCampaign. So these are a series of emails that you're sending to an audience so that they can reply to you. A lot of times, so that they can reply or they can engage with your content. A lot of times when it comes to email sequences, we don't think about them right away because they are a little bit more kind of like hidden. And I'm going to give you some examples of some of the things that I've done with clients, and hopefully you can implement them with your clients as well. And they're easy wins because the whole purpose of this is to make sure that we are always serving our audience and serving our clients in the best way possible. Consistency in writing emails, obviously that's important, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about what that means and why that's important, and KPIs that are important to consider. How do you measure success? And this is not a one size fits all approach. So before we get started with that, I just want to tell you, like, I've done this for like 4 or 5 years now. I worked in all sorts of businesses and organizations and stuff. And obviously they're not all here. I'm going to pull the next screen. There are also SaaS businesses. There are media businesses, which are pretty much people who work with different types of media companies. And these media companies allow them to kind of have sponsors, which are, for example, in these cases, like the farmers and food companies. That's what I'm really talking about, this company specifically. So for them, it's not about converting them to a paid offer. For them is showing the media companies what the click-through rates are and what the engagement is with their emails and with their content. So there are different types of companies, and that's why it's important that it's not just like a one-size-fits-all approach, because then you're really looking at what is the goal for this business and how can we help them. So that's why I put this in here, because it really just depends. Fanbases was more about influencers and getting them in touch with their connections and with their fans. So it's a platform for them. And for them, again, it's not about how they're performing based on a promotional item. It's more about how are they converting and what type of events are they going to be able to put together for their audience. So, it's all different types of businesses, but the goal for this is to look at the type of business that you're working with or who you are, as a coach, so that you can tailor email marketing to your needs. Does that make sense? Just give me a yes in the chat if that makes any sense, because it's very important. We're always talking about money, and obviously that's super important, but a lot of times it's not like a one size fits all approach. And we kind of forget a lot about the goals that we're trying to put forward for our clients, for our audience, and for our subscribers. All right, perfect. All right, so let's keep going. So this is just other experience. It's not all about email marketing. If you want to be a good email marketer, you need to know about other things. It doesn't mean that you need to do it on a daily basis, but you just need to understand it. And the reason, especially like funnels, you need to understand how they're getting to a funnel. And I'm going to give you a specific example of a quick win that I was able to get with one of my clients by understanding their funnels. Quizzes, I've done quizzes a lot. They're great. And again, if you're doing a quiz, quiz is kind of like a marketing, we call it marketing quizzes, but it's kind of like a form that they fill out. And if anybody has seen on Facebook, like what kind of pizza is your dog, or that kind of stuff, those funny things are really fun to watch, are really fun to do. So it's a really cool way to be able to tailor email marketing for quizzes. Obviously, that's like a whole course of its own. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is that in order to be a good marketer, especially for email, you really want to get to know a lot about these things, because they're also going to help you, in the future. Okay. All right. And some of the client results, I'm not going to go on forever, but it's really how can we help our clients? One of my best clients really scaled to $1 million a year business. Just last year, we were at maybe $500,000, and then some of the strategies that we've implemented, not just with emails, we made it to $1 million. We increased the client's click-through rate from 1% to 1.5% average, and sometimes 2%, which is actually really good. Profitable campaigns with authors, like I show you, Pierre Genti, he's one of the really, really famous poetry authors who I've been working with for some time, creating a funnel that yields a client with over 500K a year, and that was on a new program. So it's really, this stuff this stuff really works. So it really is about being able to figure out goals. And some of the things that I'm going to show you today are about this, right? And why emails? Well, I'm going to pull this up real quick, because even as an email marketer, these are things that we need to know about. And I can share the link with you guys if you want to see it. And it's amazing because it's really the widespread use of email. In 2022, we had 4.3 billion users. Then by 2025, it's going to be 4.6 billion. There's only 7 billion people on Earth, and if you take account kids, elderly, like, it's pretty amazing how many people use email, how many are sent is pretty amazing as well. And we have somebody joining, so I'll just let them in. Getting a strong return on your investment. Your ROI is $40 for every $1 you spend on email marketing. That's amazing. 2 out of every, and then we have somebody else joining. Okay. 2 out of every 3 marketers use email marketing to distribute content organically. So that's also pretty amazing. Email marketing helps to grow your business. 81% of small businesses still rely on email as their primary customer acquisition channel, and 80% for retention. And here the key is retention, because it's not just getting new clients and stuff like that. It's being able to nurture them. And that's the whole point of this. Welcome emails is one of my favorite sequences to write. And I'll give you some tips as to specifically what you can do with welcome emails. And really, the average open rate is close to 20%, as we all know. And then the average open rate for welcome emails is way higher. So this is amazing because you're training your audience to open up your emails. It's the first email that they're getting because they're so excited to hear from you. And also, not only that, it helps your delivery rate, because the more people open up your emails and click on your links and reply to you, the better it is for the email service provider to understand who you are and to be able to put your emails on the inbox and always have a good delivery rate. So that's why it's really, really amazing. Personalization with personalized subject lines are great. It's 50% higher open rates. And personalization is not just, using a first name. Personalization can also be something that you've done. So if you clicked on, say, a link on an email in the past that had to do with a promotional item, say, I know you clicked on this, but this would be your next step. So it's not just using your name. It also is about the types of engagement that you had with them in the past, or calling out your 1% list. So the 1% list is kind of like the people who have opened your emails the most in the last month, the last 6 months, whatever it is you want to measure it by. And you can have specific emails for them that are more personalized, because you know the types of content that they're opening up. So it really opens the door to like a million things that we can do, right? When it comes to personalization. Abandoned cart emails, people have busy lives. So they convert, 69% more orders in one single email, which is a huge percentage. If you think about it, it's really amazing. Adding videos can also increase your click rates by 300%. And now we can obviously put a video in our email. That's actually coming. And there are some service providers that actually do this, but it's still in the very, very early stages. But obviously what we do is you just put a YouTube kind of like mark that you can click on it, and people are more likely to increase your click rates by 300%. So this is a really good way to increase your click-through rate if you are really struggling. By putting in a video, people love to watch videos nowadays, even if we don't have the attention span that we once had. And they really like to hear from you. They really like to hear promotional items from their favorite brand. So I wanted to bring this up because it's important to understand why email, and why should we even bother? And hopefully this kind of silences other people to understand what that is. Does anybody have any questions about that before we go on to the next thing? Put them in the chat if you do, or feel free to unmute. And also, I know that some people join late, so just let me know what you do. If you're a coach, if you're an email manager, or if you're a copywriter like Chris and I, so I can really tailor this a little bit more to you guys. All right, so we talked about this.
Sorry
Go ahead.
sorry to cut you off there, Marie. Some really good advice. But I'm a copywriter for influencers and content creators. How would you kind of tailor that experience towards them? Like,
Okay, so you said
what you know.
Influencers and content creators?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the market? Like what
Like
type
a
of influencer?
a demographic of, it could be anything from, people who are interested in cars and content creators who base their content on cars, to people who like watching vlogs.
Okay, so there's a lot of content creators. That's why it's kind of like the market, because it can be, obviously like a food blogging kind of
Yeah,
thing, or it
yeah.
can be like, so really a lot of the information that people are putting out there as influencers, it has to do with the social media that they're obviously where they're the influencer. Whether it's like Instagram or YouTube or TikTok or whatever. But it's important to remember that emails is a little bit more personalized, and it's not the place where you're gonna be showing off. Let's just say that you have 1 million followers. So I always recommend that influencers have their own email list. And the reason for that is because there's been a lot of times where you're depending on one platform, whether it's called YouTube or Instagram or TikTok. And at any time, if you do something wrong, they might kick you out of the platform, and you don't want that.
Yeah.
So it's important to remember that, that you need to be able to use email marketing for them in a way that would make sense for sense for what they're trying to offer. And it's, even if it's an email a week that says, hey, I just put the new content out there, it's right here, or hey, listen, there's more things that I like to show you that are it's right here. So it's a really good question, because yes, influencers and content creators, they're all the time creating content. But when it comes to emails, and I can show you types of emails, later on if you want, to that you can connect more with your audience. But emails is kind of like a never-ending funnel where you're always bringing people back to your content, except that you own those. You have the right. I don't want to say you own, because nobody owns email addresses. They're personalized to each person. But you kind of own a little bit more than just being able to say you have like 1 million followers on Instagram. Well, that's great. But if you do something wrong, or if you get hacked, that's it, buddy. Like, there's no way for you
So
to get your
basically what
account
you're
back.
saying is, like 1 million, like 250,000 email subscribers is more valuable than 1 million Instagram followers, because they're more personalized, they're more drawn to you, they might like what you say more up to date with your content, so on and so forth.
I think they're both important. They're both equally important, but you definitely, if for some reason you get hacked, or for some reason you lose your account, you do have a way to get a lot of them back by having their email and by being able to tell them what happened. Obviously, with the way that things are, you're never going to be able to get back to where you were, but at least you have a little bit more of a control of what you can do. And one thing is not, it's not like I'm against social media, or I'm against specific channels or anything like that. I think everything can work together if you have a good strategy. And if you are smart enough, you can repurpose the content that you're creating, and instead of putting it at post on Facebook, then you can email that post and then say, click here to learn more. That is going to direct the traffic to somewhere else. So it's a way of finding a way that even influencers and content creators can use their power and what they've done before to be able to use emails in a way that it's going to complement their business, and it's going to get you higher or even better results, as opposed to just relying on one thing. Does that make sense? I hope so. All right, cool. All right, so you understand now why emails. And now I want to go into what I
Mary,
promised
sorry to
you.
interrupt. I just had one
Yes,
question. Is it okay?
go ahead. Yes.
Is it okay if I go ahead? Okay, yeah. So I actually do email marketing for health and wellness coaches.
For what? I'm
So
sorry.
for health and wellness coaches.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been doing email marketing for them. So I had a question for you.
Yeah.
So according to you, would be the best launch sequence for a program or a course which they're offering?
Okay, so that's a good question, and it's a great segue. So you're asking about what sequences will be best for kind of like coaches or creators or people like that. Is that? Oh, I lost you, Deb. I can't hear you.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, so basically, probably a launch sequence where they are launching an online program for their health and wellness thing.
Got it.
So,
Okay,
yeah,
online programs.
yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so the first thing that, and Deb, I promise I will get to your question with this slide. It's pretty much the essential email sequences that you need to have in place are the welcome sequence, as we saw in our previous slide, or the previous statistic that I just showed you. They convert way higher than any other one, because people are excited to get to get to know you. Deb, the welcome sequence is something that you need to have for people who have online programs, for sure. And I actually have a checklist of the types of emails that you can send out that I've used with my clients, and you can definitely copy it, or not copy it, just take it and use it for them, like whatever you want.
Yeah.
Okay, so the welcome sequence is definitely the number one thing I look for. Again, it's one of those things that whenever you're establishing yourself and people are giving you their email address, you want to welcome them, and you want to say, listen, I love that you joined me. This is what you can expect. And this is a great way to right off the bat offer something as well. So I'll get to the welcome sequence specifically, but I also wanted to mention that the welcome sequence not only has higher open rates than any other sequence that you probably are ever going to send, but it really sets the tone. And when we're talking about email marketing, a lot of people look at email marketing as a way that, yeah, you just want to get offers, you just want to get paid, you just want to do this.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's about a connection. It's about establishing your connection. Exactly. So whenever, and the best way to describe this is whenever you have a connection with your audience, you're definitely going to increase your chances of them loving you and buying more stuff from you. So, and it's not just that connection. Like, for example, when you go out on a date with your, special someone, like, and they give you their number, or they give you their email, or nowadays it's like all over the place, or they reach out to you on these like dating apps. You don't go and you say, hey, let's go and and let's get married, right? You have to start that connection, and the welcome sequence is perfect for that, because you really want to have that connection. Perfect. Another one that is very important is the abandoned cart sequence. And this is more for e-commerce than anything else. But when it comes to abandoned cart, it's really about getting people to come back to the cart. And we saw that, it was like almost 70% of people who have an abandoned cart sequence get the people to come back to finish buying the product that they're looking to buy. So this one is amazing. And then the post-purchase, I really love this one, because it's not just saying thank you for your purchase. It's a way to have upsells for products or programs. So here, this is one Deb that you definitely want to have when they have for online programs, because you're saying thank you, here's access to your program, but guess what? You can upgrade and you can offer bonuses or whatever it is that you want to do. It can be something that they've seen in the presentation, in a webinar, in the sales page, or you can also do something different. But it's a really good email sequence to have for a program, an online program as well. A nurturing campaign. A nurturing campaign is more, if you haven't really emailed your audience in a while, it's a really good way to kind of come back and kind of re-nurture them in a way. It's similar to the re-engagement, but the re-engagement is more on the end of the user. whereas the nurturing is on the end of you. It's because you haven't emailed them enough. You kind of forgot about them a little bit. And then re-engagement, it comes from the end of the user themselves, that they haven't opened emails, they haven't really said they haven't clicked on your links in a while, and you can actually kind of re-engage them in that way. So that's why a re-engagement sequence is a really good way to have in place before things happen. And these are all things that you can do before they opt in. So before they opt in, you can have your welcome sequence. Before they buy any of your products, you have your abandoned cart sequence already set up. Before they buy any of your products, you have the post-purchase already planned out, and you already know what you're saying. Everything really falls down onto doing it before things happen. And the re-engagement sequence is great because it's about cleaning up your list, which is going to help your delivery rate as well. So what do you need, or how do you really understand what it is that you want to do with your subscribers? And Deb, I think this is going to really help you as well. So really, what is the goal? A lot of online programs are evergreen, or a lot of them also follow the product launch formula, which is kind of like 2 weeks of promotional stuff. And then they have webinars, and they have emails and all that other stuff. And then they have the time where you can buy the program, and they do it based on like a cohort kind of thing. So you start with one cohort, say in the spring, then maybe one in the summer, and maybe one in the fall, right? So what is the goal? If the goal for, like, for example, for you, Deb, if the online program is evergreen, then it's going to change because you're going to need separate emails for different things, right?
Right.
If you have a store, like an online store, then obviously that's going to be different as well, because you need an abandoned cart sequence there. Whereas in an online program, maybe you don't need an abandoned cart. You need to have maybe a live chat there, so that it's not just on emails, because abandoned cart is more about a specific product that you're buying. Or you can have both. What are your lead magnets? And I wanted to come back to something that I mentioned earlier. I worked with a company that had a lot of ebooks, and they were great, except that the problem was they had an opt-in page, and then after the opt-in page, they went straight into the ebook. So obviously that's going to hurt them, because you're giving everything away for free. They're opting in, which is nice, but why don't you have something in place that is going to help you to be able to raise your click-through rates? And if you're already asking for something like a lead magnet, the probabilities of somebody opening up and clicking on that email are very high, as opposed to an email that you're just sending like as a newsletter or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. But
if you
sorry.
Yes, go ahead, Mohammed, go ahead.
Yeah, but my rebuttal to that is, don't you need to just give them some value at the start? Otherwise, they'll just unsubscribe from those emails.
Yeah, 100%. I'm all for that. But what we're talking about are lead magnets that you have on your website, that people already know you, and people want to know more about you. So you already have delivered the valuable content, and now you're able to have something, like I said, like ebooks or things like that, where instead of having them opt in and then right away they get the lead magnet, they're opting in, but then you also email them this lead magnet so that they're able to download it themselves, and that helps your emails. So these are really easy ways that you can really get a lot of wins for your clients and for your business if you're a coach, because again, it raises the click-through rate like crazy, and it helps your delivery rate as well. So it really helps a lot when you have that. And you can always give value in different ways, but whenever you have links on your emails, you're training your audience to click on stuff. If it's free, like a lead magnet, that's great. If it's promotional stuff that you're doing, that's even better, right? Because then you're going to get paid for something. But you're always putting in links because you're training your audience to click on stuff. And that's a kind of like a best practice that I always like to go by. Also, something, Mohammed, that you mentioned, how are you delivering your information? Because if you're an influencer or a content creator, then a lot of the traffic that you're going to bring is going to be back to your channel, right? Because so far we can't embed.
It's increasing engagement of your content.
Exactly.
So, like, check out my new video, or it could be some merch, or it could be a course they're promoting. So there's a lot of little avenues you can play around. That's why I think it's a good niche to go inside, for sure.
Yeah, Definitely. So it also depends on how you're delivering the information. And Deb, like you have the program, the online program that you
Yeah.
mentioned. So the online program is how you're delivering the information before you open up the doors to the online program. And that's really going to depend a lot on how you're delivering this
Yeah.
information.
And
Right?
and this is the free, and this is on YouTube, so this is a freebie for anybody watching who's trying to get into that kind of niche. Speaking your audience is like the creator's tone of voice. It's gonna sound much more genuine and come from the heart, especially,
Exactly.
and that's good.
Yeah.
Connecting with the subscribers better for sure.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's the connection with your subscribers. That's exactly what we're
Yeah.
talking about, and how you're connecting with them, and how are you training them to know that that's the way that you connect with them, whether it's through DMs, through messages like SMS or emails or whatever it is. You really want to use email to complement that. It's not one or the other. They have to work together, and
Right.
that's key. Okay, so I get this question a lot. How many emails do I need to write? How many emails per week, right? And it really
Yeah.
depends. And I'm so sorry to say that, but it's just going to depend on your target market. And Chris can attest to this. I really go back a lot to understanding who you're talking to. And Chris, if you're there, just put a yes in the chat, because I know you from Lucas. So I want to make sure that you're still there. But it's really about your target market, and you really can get so specific with your target market that you need to know what they want. Because if they're okay, you're there, perfect. If you don't know,
I'm
then
there.
if you don't know what they want, then it's gonna be a lot harder to understand how to write for them and what types of things they're interested in. If you are writing to, like, I think somebody said that they're in the financial market, you need to understand what they know and what they don't know about finances and maybe investing and stuff like that, and how much valuable content can you deliver per week. So it's kind of like those two things really come into play. Your target market, understanding who you're talking to, understanding, and we call them the big four, because it has to do a lot with like levels of awareness of your product or your service, how involved they're going to be, and how much do they know about it, and who are they, like what are their demographics. Not just saying a woman in their 40s who has 3 kids. No, it's not like that. It's kind of like defining it. Samantha, who lives in Columbus, Ohio, sends their kids to a public school because she can't afford anything else. Her husband works all day every day, and she also has a part-time job at a bank. Like, you're really defining them. And when I say Samantha, your mind goes to somebody, right? But if you say the 40-year-old woman, it's really hard to say, okay, like, what do they look like? Or like, you really want to put somebody in your mind so that you can understand their target market. And I mean, we can talk about target market forever, but you need to understand how much do they know about you. And this comes down to like levels of awareness of understanding what you do,
for sure.
and understanding how much do you need to educate them. So it's both ways. And valuable content, and I'm going to get into some specific emails that you can write. Valuable content is key, because it's not just sending an email just because you want to write an email per week. You really want to send valuable stuff. Okay, so that's really the answer. If the answer is 1 a week, then you just do 1 a week. if you can write more, then that's great, but just make sure that you focus specifically on what you can deliver. Okay, and now some KPIs that are important. So far so good, guys. Just let me know if we're good.
No, it's going amazing.
It's
Okay,
going
awesome.
amazing.
Great.
Thank you so much, Mary.
No problem. I'm glad this is helping you guys. So some KPIs that are important to consider: open rates. So I don't know if you remember, guys, when we had the iOS update about 2 years ago, where Apple decided to not show ESPs when people are necessarily opening up the emails. So we don't really have a reliable source of open rates. ActiveCampaign and other types of email service providers are actually trying to have an iPhone/Apple product open rate and a regular one. So if I open up my email on my MacBook Pro, and I go on Chrome, the email service provider can actually track it because I'm on Chrome, and that's where I'm opening up the email. But if I open the Apple email app, it can't track it. It knows that it got there and it can't track it because I am hiding my privacy. So that's why open rates are not very reliable. They're still important, but they're not as reliable as they were before. And you can also tell if somebody has a good list, a good healthy list or not. If they have an open rate of like a 3 or a 5%, we're in trouble. If they have an open rate of say 25 to 30%, then that's a little bit healthier. But again, you don't want to rely so much on them because it's not really reliable as to as other types of indicators like the click-through rate. The click-through rate is the most reliable because you know exactly who's clicking and you can actually track that. So that's something that you definitely want to obviously keep in mind.
And also, Mary, sorry to cut you
Yes.
off, but how would you explain to the other copywriters in here and watching how to increase your open rate? Would you speak about email deliverability a bit?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things to consider when it comes to increasing your open rate. One of them is being able to write good subject lines, understanding your market, because if you can do a lot of A/B testing when it comes to that kind of stuff. Also, the preview lines are important. The way that you're sending your emails, the consistency where you're sending your emails, all of that comes into play. Also, checking the spamming and your rates of spam. There's a lot of, if you just Google what is my delivery rate for emails, you're going to be able to find a lot of sources that are going to tell you if your domain has been blacklisted or not. And that's a whole other situation. So if you have been blacklisted, it's because people have been complaining that you're spamming them. And obviously that's not what you want. So there are things that you can do to bring it back by going through kind of like a process with it's called a domain authority. So if you have a good domain authority, then that means that you're sending good emails and that you're not in spam. And if you have low domain authority, then the easiest thing to do is really to just change your domain because it's a hassle to be able to bring that back. But if you have good domain, I mean, it's not a good domain authority, like you're not in the lowest and people are not complaining so much and you're not like in the highest. Some of the things that you can do are, again, just subject lines, A/B testing, consistency. Some like there's a hack that you can also do where is you do one email a week where you only send it to your 1%. So that way your delivery rates go higher at that point, as opposed to sending it to your whole list every single time. And that's because you're helping your list through the 1%. So the 1% are the ones that are opening and are clicking on all of your emails. But if you are able to take those and use those, because say you have an open rate of say 20% with your, and again, these are not like exact, but let's say you have an open rate of 20% and with your 1% subscribers, the open rate is like a 35%, right? So they're gonna raise the level of the list because you're emailing them just to that specific group, and they're eventually gonna be able to help you to bring that open rate higher for all of them.
And also setting up your methods of verification for your emails like SPF, DKIM, DMARC, and all of these methods of verifications on your domains can actually help bring it up. Also, set up SSL certificate is you can do for free on your domain, and that can help increase levels of security and therefore increase levels of.
And also your email service provider does a lot of this, but if you want to take it a step further, you can do a double opt-in where people sign up for your list and then they have to confirm that you're actually going to be receiving emails from them. So a double opt-in also helps a lot to be able to get good open rates as well. So because again, but that list is going to be, so I had one of my clients who had double opting in some of her lead magnets, and a lot of times they were not giving her permission. So like maybe, I don't know, I went to spam. I don't know, it was before I started work with her. So she had a lot of emails that she couldn't even use because they didn't double opt-in. So that's kind of like a negative of the double opt-in. So it really just depends the type of business that you want to run. And those are some of the things that you can do with a click-through rate. And
Yeah.
obviously, the other thing that I wanted to say is the conversions are also important. Like sales, obviously, that's going to be the best reliable because it's the end result of the user, right? The sales, the views, the traffic, and that you bring into these places. Yeah. Did you want to say something, Juan Pablo? Oh, you're muted.
Sure. Sorry, about deliverability. One, I mean, I don't know why people just forget about setting up the DKIMs, the DMARCs, and those protocols that are so important. And business simply don't have it. I mean, and yeah, of course, it doesn't affect you if the list is very small. But now, when it starts growing by the tens of thousands, it gets really icky. And reviving that list actually takes a lot of time and effort. One of the things I do is that I pre-work. I mean, I start, as you said, with the most active people, and then little by little you start like gaining terrain. You start like gaining ground. I was actually able to rescue a list of 15K people.
Wow.
I rescued 13K, 13 out of 15K people that actually opened the things. And people don't segment the list and tags. I don't know why they just don't do it. That's one of the easiest ways to do it. I mean, you say people who don't open this in 10, I mean, who don't open my emails in 30 days, they are deactive. They're inactive, so I won't email them anymore. So that's
No.
doing that, right?
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's a good point to bring. I have a specific slide about segmentation that we can get into. And Chris is asking, do you usually try to push the double opt-in or leave it up to them? Honestly, I don't, because I find that a lot of times people who do the double opt-in, they forget to just click on the link, and then you have an email that you're not going to be able to use. So I honestly, it just depends, but I try not to, just because I've seen with previous clients, they had like a list of 10,000 and they had 3,000 emails they couldn't even use. So it was like a waste. So, and you don't know if those 3,000 emails really just didn't get the email, or if they just saw it in their inbox. A lot of times they're not clicking on all of the emails, right? So that's why I try not to. But I want to. So I hope that makes sense, Chris. So the other types of emails that you can send, it's, and I'm going to give you a list of, this is actually Deb's question. What types of emails can I send? And you can use this for just evergreen emails, kind of like that you want to send every week, or nurturing emails or sequences. You can use any of them. So a unique selling proposition is obviously what it is, just trying to sell something. Obviously, you don't want to do this right away. You want to have a welcome sequence first, getting to know you, and then you can ask for the sale. Definitely ask for the sale, though. That's what you're there for. But you want to approach it in a unique way, so that it's not just like, here, this is what you can expect from me. A reply email I love, especially early on, because it really helps to improve. We're talking about open rates. If people reply to you, it automatically adds you to the email, wherever people are sending you the email from. So that helps a lot, because they save you in the contacts. So it's really, really good. Confirming the download is also a really good way. It's a different way of saying a reply email, but just confirm that you've gotten this. This is a really great way to do that. Testimonials or success stories are great to send out in a way that makes sense. I mean, I work with a lawyer who is in immigration, and one of our best emails was a story about how somebody got stuck in the border and they couldn't come into the country, because it was a story, and it's something that really people want to avoid, right? So that kind of thing works really well. Or a testimonial of somebody saying something about your work and like your programs for you, Deb. That would really be a great way to obviously, you don't want to base it all around that, the testimonial. Right. You just want to bring it in, kind of illustrating the point. Yeah.
Right.
And then counter objections of your products. Like, for example, if you sell a product that it's sometimes you need education on how to use it, or a counter objection to any of the things that you offer as a coach or as an expert, like with financing, is obviously there's a lot of fear there. I think Richard is the financing guy, finance guy. but that's really a great way to, you can write emails all about counter objections in that market, for example, right? Also invitation emails, they're great. They can also be sequences as well to like events and stuff like that. And talking about that, I probably should have sent you guys some emails reminding you about this. So I'm glad you guys are here, but that's an example of opportunities that are there for invitations for events and reminding them to go into, things that you're going to put out. Video related content. This is a great way to bring traffic to a YouTube page and or Instagram or TikTok or whatever. And as we saw, it really helps a lot when you have video on your email and you just have that little play button, because people like to click on those. FAQs are also great because a lot of times when you have a sales page, and obviously this is more, for UDev or programs or things like that. A lot of times people don't read the whole thing on the on the sales page, and this is a way to break out your sales page into different things. And the FAQs are a great way to kind of bring that forward and be able to be very specific about the types of emails that you can send, and being very specific about the program and things that you're selling. A different insight, like for example, excuse me, like the program, a different insight on the program. Well, what would happen if you don't invest in it right now? Or what would happen, 10 years from now? Where will you be right now? So kind of like putting them in a place where they're seeing it from a different perspective, as opposed to saying, oh, okay, this is great for me. This is what I really want to do. And then all of a sudden, they just don't go through with it. Like a different insight, say, okay, maybe this is what you needed, right? Or looking at it from a different insight of maybe like a story about who you are and how is this going to help you, kind of thing. The last chance, it can be on offers or it can be on anything that you send out. A lot of times I see these emails, you have 1 hour left to join my program, or today's the last day, kind of thing. And obviously those are sequences, but when you have an offer last chance, it doesn't always have to be specific to that offer. It can be last chance to watch my video, last chance to download my lead magnet. I'm going to take it away. I'm going to make it paid, whatever it is. Top reasons to that you can also use, to use your emails for them to see top reasons to either purchase your program, or being able top reasons for whatever it is that you want to do. A lot of times people love, and especially on YouTube, you probably have seen like the top 10 moments, like the top 10 basketball plays of all time or something like that. People are always intrigued by the top 10 and which one's going to make it to number 1, right? So it's a really great email to also send out. And again, all of these emails can be sent out specifically one at a time or as part of the sequences as well. A story, it doesn't have to be about your clients, but it can be, or like a testimonial like we saw in the previous slide, but it can be a story about something that you want to share. So like for example, a couple of weeks ago here in South Florida, we had really, really bad rain that it within like a matter of like 4 hours, we had probably the most amount of rain we've ever gotten, and everything was flooded and stuff. And that is a story in of itself for anything that you're doing, and you can connect it to you, because just like the rain was unexpected, you can connect it to unexpected events. You can connect it to unexpected clients that you've had in the past, to unexpected things that come up in your life. Like you can take the theme of things that are unexpected and connect it to a story, like I showed you right now, right? So, and it would be, it's a more interesting email when you're reading a story than you're just reading like lessons about, just don't tell me what to do with my life kind of thing, right? So that's why stories are also great to use in emails. News, and I mentioned the news. So one of the biggest things that I did, with this lawyer was there was a visa that was changing the amounts of investment. I think it was from like 500,000 to like $1 million that you can invest in a business, and that was obviously like super important. So things that are important that you want to share with your audience are great to send out, because this is a way for you to stand out with stand out in the inbox, so that people will see you more about who you are and what you do. So if you are constantly the person that is sending them the information that they need to know about your specific market, then that's going to be awesome because you're going to create that connection great with your subscribers. An event calendar is also a great way to send information because it's not just an invitation, but you're also sending them kind of like the link to add into the calendar. So it's also a great email to send if you have an event coming up. So you can definitely do that as well. A social media link, like we mentioned, there's a lot of things that where we're bringing traffic to. A social media link or a post or something like that is great, that you can also send out. Thanks, Mohammed, for the hearts. Tutorial of things that maybe people don't know, like for example, for you, Dev, a tutorial about the program that they're about to invest in or something like that is a great opportunity of things that you can do. And I was going to get to the segmentation emails. If you have something not personalized, or very personalized or somewhat personalized is great, but segmentation plays a big role in email marketing. And you can segment them by customer journey. Like for you, Deb, somebody who's new at what they're doing, whatever the program is going to teach them, or somebody who's in the middle, or somebody who's advanced, or the demographics. You can also do segmentation. I like to do it based on like behaviors. So like if you're a coach and you're trying to connect with your audience and say like you're in the weight loss journey, the behavior. So like, for example, if you are a person who is, a mom of three, let's just say, and you need to lose the baby weight from your third baby, that's different than somebody who is, 20 years old and just wants to lose weight for her wedding or to go in a bikini, in the summer or something like that. So you always want to have this triangle in mind of like, how many emails are you sending that are personalized? How many are somewhat personalized and some are very personalized? And that really is going to help you to kind of like be able to tailor better your audience. And that's another way to also increase your open rates as well. Okay. So finding the right content. So you want to really focus on what you have to offer. Are there any news that are important to know in your market? How do you want to have credibility? When are you launching an offer, and whether you're nurturing or selling? And there's a lot of questions obviously that go into play, but it's really about answering what it is that you can do. Don't copy what others are doing. Just focus on your audience, focus on your goals, focus on what you can bring to the table for your business and for your audience. And that's how you're going to find the right content. And you have a bunch of I just gave you 16 different ways to send emails. You can use any of them, and there's thousands others ways that you can do it as well. Okay. So these are general rules that I like to kind of use. I promise you this list for the welcome sequence. The first thing I like to do is kind of like deliver the result. Sometimes it's a lead magnet that you are delivering. Sometimes it's a quiz and you're delivering the result. Sometimes it's just an opt-in that they wanted to do, so you just want to say thank you. So that's kind of like the first step. The second one is the reply email, because you want to confirm the report. You want to confirm the information that you want to get to, and you want to ask a question. How can I help you? What is your biggest challenge? What are you struggling with right now? Because right away you want to establish that it's going to be a two-way communication. Obviously, that's the goal. Even if you don't read all of them, you still want people to reply and to be in contact with you, so that you can be play a bigger role. Email 3 is kind of like a segmentation testimonial, because you know how they update into your page. So you want to send something similar, like, hey, you remind me of this person, I'm looking forward to getting to know you, kind of thing. Or a segmentation story about something that happened to, say, John, that would be similar to that person. Hey, I want to tell you the story of John. He was a gentleman in his 50s, and he was a little bit upset and kind of was going through depression, whatever it is. And I take that for, you really want to build up the story and tell them that story, because they're going to really define and see themselves through it. News, it's something important that I like to send out as a welcome sequence. Doesn't have to be the latest news, just something important about the market and what's happening. It helps to kind of build your credibility. Or you can also, skip that. If you don't like that, you can also do something else, like we've seen in all of the other things, all of the other emails. You have different insights on things, obviously, that you can offer as well. Or you can also do offer emails. I like to do one email at least when it comes to the welcome sequence, saying, hey, listen, I know you opted in and you probably have received some emails from me already. So I just want to let you know that this is a really good thing that I have. And I want to offer it to you for a discounted price because you're new here. So instead of paying $100, you're going to pay just $57 or $47, whatever it is. I'd love for you to have it. Here it is. Just grab it here. And also a segmentation offer that is specifically for that segment. So these are good general rules that you can apply for the welcome sequence. Obviously, choose any of them, none of them, whatever you want, but it's going to help to kind of like get you thinking about what type of welcome sequence you can have. I try to keep it between 7 and 8 emails. That seems to be kind of like the things that I do. Now, there's other advanced strategies, and I do have to go in like 5 minutes, but I like to speak a little bit about this. Automations within an automation is like you reply to an email to unlock another freebie. That helps a lot with your list to get healthy. You click on a link as well to unlock another freebie. For example, the example I gave you about ebooks, the last email I sent out was, hey, I know you're interested in this type of ebook, and this is really, really similar to this ebook. So that's why I'm sending you this. Just click here to open it. And you don't need to have more opt-in steps. You just, it's tagging on ActiveCampaign, and it's going to send them more emails. And of course, they're going to get access to the ebook right away because they've already clicked on it. So that's why it's so good. Segmentation emails. So using the questions, that's kind of like the buckets and not the results. So that helps you to be able to tag the right people and be able to see what they're interested in. Okay. And then using Gmail to reply, you really want your subscribers to reply to have a normal conversation, and that's going to increase your delivery rate. So all of this really is going to help you a little bit more. And I think that's it. If you guys want to connect, just click on that link, mirrorlearnoff.com/call. I love to talk to copywriters, email lists, managers, people who are in different fields and are looking to help, and are looking to increase and improve their emails. Or even coaches, consultants, whoever. Like really, my target market is usually authors and SaaS companies. But like I said, I've worked in other markets as well that have given me a lot of kind of like an understanding of what it's like with email marketing. I'm actually gonna put the link in the chat. So any last questions before we go?
No,
Awesome.
all good for me.
Good, I'm so glad. I hope that you
All
guys
good,
take
Mary.
Appreciate the
something
call
from it.
today.
Incredible, Mary.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Just if you can do me a favor, guys, just put
Very
in the
cool.
chat something that you can implement right away from what we've talked about. It's not just saying things. I want to make sure that you take something from it, because that's why I did this. So what is one thing? I love it, Juan Pablo. I love it. What is one thing that you can take away from today that you can implement with your clients or in your own business, or anything that that really can come to mind? I'll give you a second just to think about it. Okay, awesome. The email content strategy, all the different methods of nurturing subscribers. Awesome, Mohammed. I'm so glad to hear that. Oh, yeah, Juan Pablo, the deliverability. Obviously, that's something that you do. That's awesome. Okay, that's great.
Well, I mean, you're confirming my beliefs, because so far I have been like very empirical, like, I have seen this works, but I mean, now that I have somebody else confirming my beliefs, it's like, okay, I am a real expert. It's not like I'm experimenting. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
For that.
Definitely, yeah. No, I
Yeah,
love that.
Mary.
And
So
go ahead.
So did you say just book a call to get in touch with you?
Yeah. I mean, if you guys want, I mean, obviously I don't know if you guys will be clients, but it's okay. I mean, I love to connect. If you want to just like book maybe like a 30-minute call, and we can talk a little bit more, I'm going to send you another link. I'm always looking to getting to know people.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised. One of my best clients actually came from getting to know them. Here, you can just click on that link. And And I mean, referrals to me are awesome as well, because that's really how we kind of grow our network and stuff. So yeah, so
Yeah,
I'm so
yeah.
happy that you guys came. Let's be in touch, don't be strangers. And I will probably have another event coming up, and I'll definitely let you guys know where we talk a little bit more about specific things, because this was kind of like an overview of everything. So maybe we'll talk a little bit more about maybe just subject lines or AI. I mean, everybody's talking about AI nowadays, and we didn't even touch that subject. So, but we'll definitely let you know so that we can have another one of these. All right.
All right, Mary. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Take care,
Appreciate it.
guys. Have